Okay, what's going on guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a post-commentary of a game I had. As you can see, we are playing Nasus in the top lane. We are versus an Olaf that is running Ghost and Teleport. And he has the Conquer Keystone, which is actually one of the newer ones introduced to the game. While I was on hiatus, it was one of the new ones added to the game. Now, let me show you guys real quick the build that I was running for this game. As you can see right there, we did a standard Q max on Nasus, which was followed up by a W max because of the enemy champions, and we finished it off with an E max, even though that kind of wasn't part of the game too much, but you know what I mean. Also putting a point in your ultimate at any point when it was available to do so. Now let me go over the runes. So I like to take Fleet Footwork because of the extra healing, the extra mobility. It's all Gucci to me. Also, I take all the other useful things, extra tenacity, extra life when I kill somebody, so I can stay longer in a team fight. I get to do more damage to low health targets, so I can execute them quickly and move on to the next one. Now, the only other thing that I can say is that probably in the resolve trees where you would have a room for interpretation on what you would want, you can either go for Demolisher to do even more damage to turrets, you could go for Bone Plating to survive. You could go Font of Life to lifesteal even more when you wither somebody in lane, but I just went for this because I thought I wasn't going to be sticking on targets too much, at least for the majority of the game. So I went Second Wind, and naturally I took, I think it's like Revitalize. I always forget the name of this particular one, but it's to heal more when you're basically regening, which Nasus' Q does for you. So let's take that off the screen so we can enjoy the gameplay, and basically we are going to be going over this game step by step, including all my thought processes during the game, and also covering some of the mistakes that I'll be making, as well as maybe some of the mistakes that some other people make. I don't know, I guess we'll see. Now, let me just say that this was a particularly brutal game in my opinion from the get-go, simply because I was not very familiar with the Olaf matchup. Olaf is the kind of champion that is basically forgotten in League of Legends. It's one of the champions that you hardly see nowadays, so it's a bit sad because I wasn't I was a bit distracted simply because I was thinking about how the matchup was going to go. It's not autopilot like, for example, how Jack's matchup is for me, or for example how a, let's say like a tank like a Mundo, Shen, that kind of matchup would be. Now, I will go and cover for you guys the bans. I will say that basically, oh, and let's cover the mistake as I was saying. I would suggest that you never do this as a jungler. No matter what jungler you are, ganking for a Nasus, especially because, let me show you guys, because I think, yeah, see, so I already communicated with my team, with my jungler specifically, that I did not have my W up. So I was not expecting him to do this, only because people should know by now that Nasus provides zero help to you when you gank him at level 2, level 3, basically any time before he has any sort of power to speak of. Not only that, but the wave has crashed into my tower, so I could go and help this guy, yes, but at the same time I don't want to really lose too much, because losing minions is not something I want to do, especially in a matchup that I know I'm going to be having a tough time in, until I can actually get a foothold in and then be able to 1v1 this guy. So him doing this kind of doesn't help me, but let's try and move past that, and let's get the camera to focus back on my champion if that's possible. Okay, so, oops, there we go. Okay, it's back. So, like I was saying, that's not ideal, but, you know, I can kind of ignore it, because knowing how the game plays out, it's not a huge issue, but it's not something that I kind of understand why this guy's been doing it. He does it several times, and I basically just type to him and I say, look, if I do try and engage on Olaf, because of Olaf's ultimate, especially at level 6, if I lead with my W to engage on him, all he has to do is then press his ultimate to either engage back on me with an advantage or disengage. Now, he ended up doing that at one point in the game. I'll probably point it out when we get to it later on into the gameplay. But what I'm basically getting at is that if he does that, he has either a guaranteed escape or a slight advantage in the fight unless I back off and then re-engage onto him. But he has to stay around long enough for me to re-engage back onto him, which is also another issue that we're not going to get into, but whatever, you know. So I'm basically saying while he has ultimate up, I cannot do anything to that guy. So kinda no point ganking top lane is basically what I'm kind of getting at in this specific matchup. If you're a jungler, you're not specifically a Nasus play, but you stumbled onto this video and you're watching this gameplay, I would give you the advice that you should probably not look to do anything when it comes to this kind of matchup, because it's probably going to be something that is either going to be very bad for the Nasus. Because even I fuck up a bit because I'm not really anticipating the sort of the damage and the combos and the trading that I can pull off, because essentially I've not fought this in a long time, and also I get completely blitzed by this guy. Now, another thing that I will say is that he did not need to flash there. That was an unnecessary flash. I mean, you know, granted, whatever, kills secured, it's fine, no problems, but I think if he held on to his flash, he would have been better off. I could be wrong, but that's the way that I see it anyway, so hey, there's that. This is basically when I think I'm typing to the guy saying, you know, kind of don't come to my lane. I don't think you're going to be getting much out of it. He does start to get something out of it later on, but that's already because I'm starting to get to the point where I can solo the lane. So still kind of thinking that it's a bit of a waste of time, especially because bot lane is struggling and will struggle for most of the game. Until I kind of get to the point where I'm drawing a lot of attention top lane and we're kind of getting to the team fighty bit of the game, bot lane is going to be basically permanently fine. And I think Lee maybe could have done more to help them, I'm not entirely sure. I would have to completely dedicate this spectate to seeing that, to see how he plays bot lane, to basically say if, oh, he could or he could not. Now, this is also an annoying thing because Olaf does have some insane sustain. Not only does he get increased attack speed the lower his HP gets, but he has the, I think it's the W or the E, I forget which one, but it basically just gives him a ton more regen and a ton more attack speed when it's activated, which is kind of the sucky part about this whole thing, because, I mean, you know, it's not the worst matchup. I would still say maybe like a Darius or a Teemo, Garen, things like that. They're more annoying matchups to have to deal with. But as far as the matchup itself, as long as you play passive and you stack enough, you're just gonna face roll this guy and you're gonna outscale him massively, which is basically what Nasus does to a lot of people. It's just surviving long enough to be able to do that. I would say that dying once in lane is acceptable, as long as you're getting kills in a return. So if you die once, but then you start to pull it back and you don't die to subsequent ganks, I think it's fine. So I'm still saying it's a bad thing that I didn't see the Jarvan coming, but it was also such a fast play with the EQ flash that, I mean, I was basically dead at that point anyway, because they would have just towered over me anyway. So the fact that Lee got the double kill out of that is perfectly good in my opinion. But moving on, right? Let's talk about my itemization, because I didn't quite cover that at the beginning when I showed you the build, the skills, all of that. Okay, so let me cover it. This is probably one of my staple items on Nasus, one of my favorite items to build on Nasus. I don't see very many Nasus players building it, so I can only speak for myself, but I have historically found great success using Frozen Heart on Nasus, because it gives you all the stats that you would want on Nasus. It gives you armor, and it gives you a ton of armor. It gives you 100 armor. It gives you cooldown reduction, 20%, it's nothing to scoff at. It's a sizable amount of CDR that you're getting off this one item. Also, he's pinging, but I just told the guy, look, all he has to do is he has ult. I cannot stick to this guy. He is not only faster than me, but I have no way to CC him because of his ultimate. So anyway, let's move on. Like I was saying, so I have historically found great success using Frozen Heart. And especially in a matchup like this where you have something like a Yasuo that is very, very heavily leaning on attacks and crits. So having the armor, having the slowed down attack speed not only helps me with the Olaf, but the Yasuo as well. So it's kind of like the thing that I'm getting at, you know? Also, it's the Jarvan. Jarvan is also going to be heavily impacted by this, so that's a-okay in my book. Now, the second item that I always build is I go for the Sheen. I want to get the Sheen as soon as possible. Now, you'll see that I do go into the Frozen Heart because I cannot afford to not build any tank when I'm being this heavily focused on in the early game. If I do that, I will be putting myself at a great disadvantage, which I'm not really keen on doing because this is not the kind of game where if you make mistakes, you will 100% lose. If I was not playing as positively and as on point as I was playing, if I was not focusing on the game, I would have lost the game. Now, it does come down to the team. Is the team willing to listen? Is the team willing to cooperate to win the game? If the answer is yes, then that's good. You'll probably win the game. If the answer is no, unfortunately, there's pretty much nothing you can do. You're gonna lose. But let's move on. Let's just skip on past that. Let's go into some other items that I was building in this game. Obviously, the Spirit Visage, more healing, more HP. It protects me from the Diana and the Malphite's damage, which both have magic damage on their abilities. So that makes sense to me. Let me think, what else did I build? I know I built the Abbeys because it's the kind of stuff that, you know, Yasuo, Olaf, Jarvan, they do a lot of damage and they have a lot of armor penetration abilities. They do a ton of damage. If they all jump on you at once, that is bad times. So I'm definitely going for the Tabbies this game. I don't care how much of an annoyance CC is. I'll have to deal with it because I do not want to take that much damage. And even with the Tabbies, this was a very tough game to tank the damage. They were quite sizable opponents, considerable opponents, strong opponents. I don't know what word you want me to use, but I'll use whichever one. I don't care. But let me see. Oof, this is we have a ton of gameplay left, and there's not really much happening at the moment. I'm basically stacking as much as I possibly can, trying to get as big as I can get, and I'm actually doing fairly okay. I'm still behind on stacks, but given what you've kind of seen so far, now this is, I think this is exactly when I kill him the first time, because I bait out his ultimate, and then I will re-engage onto him, and then he has basically no way of kiting me at that point, because he doesn't have his ultimate anymore, so he's actually lost a very big portion of his kill. It's a lot of his strength. Now I'm not sure if I fight him now, or if I fight him after I back. I'm not entirely sure. I'm basically still kind of scouting out for the Jarvan, maybe coming in from for a sneaky gank like he did the first time. So I've always had that in mind since that first point. You'll kind of find that not only are most people, but most League players are creatures of habit. So if he's done it once, he's probably going to try at least attempt to do it again. So if you've been ganked from behind your tower, you might want to lay some wards down, or might want to buy a control ward that you can leave there permanently until he comes back. If he never comes back, that's fine. That was a good use of 75 gold. But yeah, this is kind of why this is sort of an easy matchup as long as you can tough it out. If you get focused more than I was getting focused, I think you'll start having some real issues with this kind of matchup, because oof, he's not going to be fun. But the thing that kind of surprises me more than anything in this game is that this Yasuo was basically playing ADC and he got fed. He got that fed. I think it might just come down to Jinx's optimization. I don't think Stormraiser on Jinx as a first item is a very smart idea. I know the item is good, but I see most people that have any clue about the game using it as a second or third item. Most commonly the third item. It's also an item that I could very easily build on Nasus, but because of my playstyle and because of the general sort of caliber of teams that I end up having, I would not really recommend that you could build this on Nasus. I don't think you can get away with it. The Sheen gives you enough damage that you should be able to do well in team fights, and I don't think you need the Stormraiser damage, AD, crit, bonus, all that extra damage. I don't think it's something that you need. Now, this guy does a huge mistake by walking out. He should not be getting involved in this. And you can see that the Olaf cancels his TP, which essentially means that he wasted it, he has to walk back to lane. But he basically would have died. If he TP'd in, that would have been the double kill for Lee, or, you know, the 1-1, whatever. All I'm getting at is that this is kind of when the game starts to turn around. I also go and help him, because if you are the top laner and the jungler wants to do the Rift Herald, it is basically your obligation to go and help him, because you want to win the game. And getting Rift Herald is definitely going to help you win the game, because it is a massive lead. It is going to get you a lot of objective control. So why not get it? It doesn't actually take much. Lee is fed 8-1, and I'm getting decently strong. I am CSing better than everybody on my team, but that's not saying much because most of my team is having a decently tough time. I'm not saying I'm having an easy time, but hey, here you go. Okay, so this is, I think, where we're going to start seeing the action come into play. He ults, I just disengage, and I kite him back, I do some damage. And now that his ultimate is going to be popping off, I just go Wither on him and I go to town, because he is not really going to be able to do much to me at this point. He doesn't have ultimate, and I know it. And I'm going to be pushing that advantage. You can guarantee your little ass on that one, because I know, I kind of know what this champion's good at and what he isn't good at, and I can tell you that this guy is done at this point. He cannot mess around. Now, I kind of like the fact that Lee gave me that kill. That is great. Junglers, please do more of this. I think this is great. He could have definitely beat it for it and went 10-1, but he's just gonna fall off in a couple of minutes. I mean, he's already basically falling off, but Lee Sin, yeah, man, no, I mean, if you have the option of doing so, please give your latest kills at some point. But yeah, there we go, boom. This is when the game turns around for us big time. You can see the Nasus goes in to try and kill me. She gets the surprise attack on me, but she does not know that I have ultimate, and she gets slapped down big time. Because you do not mess with the Doge. The Doge is gonna fuck you up. You do not want to do that. She was all like in chat, like, oh XD, man, that sucks. They were talking a lot of shit. I think players do not like getting smacked down by Nasus when he starts stacking, and hey, I'm gonna take advantage of that. You know, if you're gonna be a dumbass and you're just gonna walk into me when I have all my abilities up, I'm gonna smack you down, especially if you're somebody that doesn't have like heavy CC or anything like that. Yeah, you're not gonna have a fun time fighting Nasus, even though she was somewhat fed, at least more fed than I was. She doesn't have that much CS, so it's actually kind of an even fight. It sucks for her, but hey dude, you chose to fight me and you paid for it. Also, we have an Infernal Dragon, which is great because the more damage I get for free, I am not gonna complain. Also, it is kind of funny how we're leading on gold, even though technically they have sort of the better team fight at this point, I would say. And especially until I get to sort of be doing my thing more and more in the team fights, we're basically losing for quite a while in this game. At least that's the way that I feel like it would have been. Like, for example, let's put it like this: if I wasn't shot calling, and if I wasn't on point to basically do, yeah, this kind of pissed me off. I don't know why he took that. He could have easily left it alive until I showed up, and I would have gotten 6 extra stacks. I don't know, man. Like, it's shit like this that just doesn't make much sense to me. Now she comes in. I don't know what the hell she's thinking, because she's gonna get fucked. Because you don't walk up to a Nasus and not. I don't know what she was thinking. That was just plain old suicide. And I stacked the third, and I stacked on Diana, so that's 12 stacks for the Doge. I go after these guys because I am a greedy man at this point. I am feeling it. I feel the blood in the air, and I want to kill them all. That was a good flash, but he dies nonetheless. I think he also would have died regardless, because I would have been in with a range in like a second, so that's not even a big deal. This is when the game gets fun. This is when I can start finally doing what Nasus was meant to be doing, and that is taking objectives, helping your team, and shutting people the fuck down. Because that is what you need to be doing. If you want to win a game, you need to do that. And also, this Yasuo is massive. My ass. Also, at this point, bot lane is not doing enough damage to even tickle the opponents, which is kind of sad, but hey, at least we're kind of getting stuff around the map. This Yasuo though is big no-no. I might even start banning Yasuo again because I think he's actually stronger than he used to be, you know, a few patches ago when I was still playing. I don't know if I mentioned it now because I've been talking for so long, but I kind of took I think it was like a 4 or 5 month break from League. So I was playing in patch at the beginning of season in the first couple of patches, and I haven't played until this current patch, which I think is like 8.17, 8.18. It's been a long time, my dudes. There's been a ton of skins that came out. Pike came out. I don't know much about Pike. I've only seen him like a handful of times. I do need to do my research on him because I think I'll be stumbling into him the higher elo we get. This was a low gold, high silver game. We're currently in silver 3, sitting at 50 LP, or I think it's 54 LP. We've won 2 games in a row, a 7-3 game on Teemo, and spoilers, this game is going to be a 12, 4, and 10 game on Nasus, which is fairly good. But let's get back to what I was getting at. So, continuing on with the whole Yasuo shtick. He is basically the person that I'm going to be itemizing for after I build my next item. So when I finish Triforce, I have to build a Visage because I cannot leave myself exposed to the magic damage side because then I'm going to just lose too much HP for no reason. But it's the Yasuo that I have in mind, so that's why we're going to be going into the Thornmail because yes, you want to do that, right? Why would you do anything else? Now this kind of really annoys me because the Malphite gets away, but Diana walks back in like bopper. Easy kills. And do I get the J4? I think I get the J4. Yes, I do get the J4 actually, I remember. He has no chance of getting away from you. This is a dunzo situation. You walked into the Nasus and the Nasus put you down. Fun times. I actually don't know why I didn't stack. If you're me, you stack on that ward. You hit it twice and then you press Q and you get the stack off of it. Because that's 3 stacks, my dude. And you want the 3 stacks. You're Nasus. Come on. Now, let's see. What else is going to be happening? I'm trying to think ahead in the game to see what's going to be happening. Also, I think I'm sitting on a lot of gold. I could be wrong, but I think I am. And I forgot how you check. Which sucks, but it is what it is. Okay, so Yasuo died. That is huge for us because anytime he's dead, it's easy team fights. I don't think I catch this guy. I want to catch him, but he's already too far gone for me to... Oh, nope, never mind. I think he just dies. Yep. I think if he kept running away, I think he would have been fine. This guy jumps in and just gets immediately bopped because he just walked into a Nasus, my son, that have his ultimate up. And 2 people that are actually quite strong at this point. So that was plain old suicide. There was no point holding that because he cannot hold that. There we go. I think we get this tower as well. I could be wrong, but I think we do get it. Yep, easy. But I think we die now because this Yasuo is strong as fuck. Yeah, we just die because Diana shows up as well. This is why I kind of say that once I get my Visage done, I am going to go for that Yasuo so I can actually shut him down in team fights. Because he puts me down a couple of times and there was basically not much that I can do about it because he was doing too much damage. I mean, if you look at his build, he already has his Infinity Edge, he already has Phantom Dancer, and he has Zerka Greaves. Now, I'm kind of mitigating some of that attack speed because of my Frozen Heart, but it's not going to be doing much for me. I need more armor, and more importantly, I need the Bramble Vest. The Bramble Vest is going to help me burst them down that much quicker, and it's also going to make me more tanky because of the, I think it's the Warden's Mail, I forgot which one it is. Basically the one that makes crits do less damage to you by I think like 15-20%. Which is actually a lot of damage when you combine it with the tabbies, because it gives you a lot of mitigated damage. I think actually at the end of the game I had what was about 40,000 mitigated damage, which is actually a ton. That is a lot. I had more than anybody else in the lobby. I think actually more than like 2 people combined, but it is what it is. It's basically a good idea to build that, especially in games like this, where you have people that want to jump on you and like auto attack you a lot. Now, I was against this. I was signaling people to be careful because I don't like this, but it's your obligation to help your team, because if you don't help your team and they decide to commit to it, then you basically all die. Now, when they decided to back off, I was actually very happy because I wanted to back off anyway and do something else. I didn't want to do the Baron. What I was saying in chat is, can we win a team fight and be sufficiently healthy enough that we can go and do Baron afterwards? Now, Jinx walks up and she almost pays for it with the life. We kind of have to all, you know, crowd control the shit out of the Diana so she doesn't get Jinx. But she dies anyway, so that's kind of like, whatever, dude. That really makes me sad, but there's not much that I can do about it. So, yeah. Now we get into the finishing team fight where my team just gets bopped, and then I die because I can't really do much. I mean, I get a kill, you know, I do some shit. I could have kept running, but I don't think I would have gotten away. I tried to wither and Q him to maybe get some health back and maybe live long enough to kill him. But that Yasuo is just not going to be playing ball with my plan at this point. He has his own idea and he's working towards it. Now, this is kind of the point where I just heavily start shot calling in the game, because if we did not focus, we would have lost this game. And it's very important that you kind of know what your win condition is and then just play into it, which is why I kind of said to people, don't die, don't be alone, and you have to focus the Yasuo, because if you don't focus the Yasuo, you're going to be in a bad spot. And yeah, I mean, that's all that it has to be. I mean, he has a ton of lifesteal, a ton of damage, very high damaging creeps, and yeah, we just have to put him down like the animal he actually is. A boosted animal, of course. This kind of is getting long. I don't really know what else I can say. I've kind of given my opinion on a lot of the situations that's been going on into this game. I mean, I guess I could kind of give my opinion on maybe the differences between going for, say, Ghost and Flash. I still do prefer Flash more nowadays. I was more of a Ghost before. He chases me alone. I don't actually know why. I think if he stuck with the rest of his team, it would have been better for him, because he just ends up dying at this point. I actually do think it would have been better for him if he stuck with his team. Also, it's kind of unfortunate that the blast plant was up, but Lee Sin cleans up the kill. We keep chasing. Now, here's one thing that I'm basically going to pause and insist that you guys do the same thing that I did. So you're going to see that we are starting to walk back, and Ari is pinging the Cloud Dragon when you have 3 people dead on the enemy team for quite a long time, and you have Baron up and they have an inhibitor down. So what I immediately start doing is I head for Baron and I ping my team and I say, help me with the Baron, fuck the Cloud Dragon, this is the perfect time to take the Baron. Now, I'm lucky because they listen to me and they all immediately start rotating to come to the Baron. If we hadn't gone, this is 100% my opinion, but if we hadn't gone for this at this point in time, I think we probably would have ended up losing the game. Maybe. This Baron gives you so much pressure in this specific situation that you cannot pass it up. I mean, the enemy team knows that you're not in a position to do anything about it because Jarvan was dead. Now, Yasuo came back up and is heading towards us, but they couldn't get here in time. Now, also, the Diana is getting greedy as hell. She jumps in and she dies for it because I was right next to her. And then, boom, Olaf dies, and then Nalfight dies. And then I killed the rest of their team because that's how that's gonna play out. Bop, on the piece of bop, 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 there we go. Stacks. Plus 6 Katarino's. Now Yasuo saves his life, unfortunately, but I mean I don't mind too much. He basically can't do anything. He has to go back and heal, and we get to basically take the tower. And then in the end, he can't stop us. There's no way he can stop us. If he tries, he's just gonna die for it. Because basically my W goes past his stupid windshield that he has. His passive, I mean, that's it, just like that. But yeah, I kind of have to back off because my team's not actually helping enough to really help me out on this one, which is a bit of a shame, but it is what it is. But we still do a ton of damage on the way out because that Q is doing a lot of damage at this point. Actually, let me see if I can check how much damage that's doing. That is doing, holy hell, that is like 800 damage on the Q. We've got 423 stacks plus the AD that I have plus the damage. It's insane. It's actually pretty good. Granted, I could have done more, but basically what I'm saying at this point to them in chat is, look, we all must be in bot lane, nobody should be in mid lane, and yeah, there you go. You know, you get the wave auto pushing because of the big minions, and also I go to defend the Ahri because I didn't want it to maybe get Malphite ulted or anything like that. Malphite dies because Jinx has insane range on her Q when she's using her oh, I forgot what it's called. It's the Mega Launcher thing. Immediately go on the Yasuo. I don't care what Lee Sin says, I'm fighting this and I'm winning this. So, boom, flash, kill him instantly, don't even worry about it, kill him, and we wait for it and bop. She dies. Easy. Easy, easy, easy. This is how you do it. And we basically just push in the mid lane because we already have the big cannon, the super minions pushing. And I already can basically have it at a good position. Bot lane is pushing way too far, it will take way too long to get that there. I just walk up to the tower, start tanking and doing damage to it. I want to end this as soon as possible, I'm not playing around. And we basically win the game at this point. GG, no re. Thank you guys for watching, hopefully you did enjoy, hopefully you found my commentary somewhat insightful, hopefully you found something out new about Nasus, maybe knew about some of the item builds that I'm doing. Who knows? If you did enjoy, I would appreciate if you leave a like on the video, leave a comment letting me know how I did in this video. Hopefully I didn't disappoint you guys. Hopefully I didn't disappoint Paparito on this one. But anyway guys, that is going to be it for today's gameplay. And I will see you guys in the next episode when we're going to be doing some more League of Legos gameplay. It's going to be either a live gameplay commentary or it's going to be one of these ones where I sit down and talk about a game that I played. See you guys then.